And good afternoon, everybody. Chris Bartell here for the Cascade Pacific Council here today with our Wednesday webinar. This is going to be fun. It's going to be about Powderhorn, the Powderhorn course. And this is a way for you to learn how to really create an incredible, awesome, fantastic outdoor program. So we're going to dive into that with Butch Istuk is here with us. And so we're going to dive into that in just a moment. But first of all, we're going to dive into our safety moment. Campfire safety. 'Tis the season. It's a little wet right now, but as we get into it, this is always good to remember that these tips here, we're just going to go through a few of them here. Leaders, of course, should just know your fire conditions before heading out, really checking for those bands. This is always good to ingrain in our brains as we head into camping season and fires and all that. Also, don't forget to use an established fire ring. Make sure there's 15 feet in radius around tents, around the fire ring. That means tents and trees. And as I say here, don't forget to look up because you got to watch for branches and all of that too. So also don't forget to store matches and lighters and any sort of fire starters in a secure waterproof box. I know we as Scouts always remember to do that, right? Even if we have waterproof matches. And never use accelerants. That should be a no-brainer as well. Never pour any white gas on the fire, anything like that. You never need it because you know what? You're a Scout. You know how to make a fire no matter what the conditions are. Also, don't forget the cold out. That means, feeling on top of that fire and knowing that it is out, out, out. You should be able to literally stick your fingers in there and stir around. That's how out it should be. So make sure you always fully extinguish those campfires. And of course, never leave a campfire unattended, ever, ever, ever. And always have a shovel or rake and water or other extinguishing materials nearby and handy. And also having somebody always watching that fire, very, very important. And be prepared always to respond to burns or someone on fire with stop, drop, and roll. So don't forget those tips, really important as we head into more and more awesome adventures in the outdoors. Okay, we're going to run through some of the latest and greatest news around the Cascade Pacific Council, then we'll get into today's topic. Okay, first of all, you all in the CPC have just received an email to register for this awesome training that we are beginning with the folks at National. We're hosting it, but National is going to be really guiding us through this new youth-to-youth bullying and abuse training. This isn't an official training that you would see in My Scouting, but it is really, really important. There's been a national rise in youth-to-youth bullying and abuse, and so we want to be at the forefront. What's awesome is we've got more than 1 million Scouts out there, and so we get to be at the forefront of this awesome training. And this is for us to help our youth. And so as is everything, of course, but this is a really important awareness and training here. So you're going to check your email for that. There are 2 dates for these training sessions. And so please, if you are in the Cascade Pacific Council, please check your email for all the important information about this and join us for one of these 2 trainings, either June 8th or June 16th at 6:30 p.m. Okay, also super, super important is your Merit Badge Counselor renewals. If you are a Merit Badge Counselor, you've got to do this, these 3 super easy steps. We did a webinar last week on it, so you can check that out at cpcbsa.org/webinars. It's also on the homepage right now. Super, super easy to do this, but you do need to renew your Merit Badge Counselorship before July 1st. The reason is because you will get disconnected with any Scouts that you're working with. So this is really, really important, but it's super easy. You're basically just going to log into my.scouting.org. You're going to check your youth protection status there, make sure you're up to date, and not just up to date, but you're up to date through July 1st, so always a good time to check that anyway. Then you're just going to jump over to scoutcommunity.com and you'll just see the renewal button there. You're going to check on that. And then once you do that, just send an email to your district advancement chair or Merit Badge coordinator and just say, hey, I'm in. I'm ready to do this once again, and I'm renewing. So there are emails that have gone out for this. So check your email for that because it's got all the links and everything for your districts, for your advancement chairs, things like that. So make sure you do that before July 1st. As a matter of fact, do it right now. Why not? It literally takes like 5 minutes. Okay, another quick thing here is that we have summer camp reservations are open for 2023 for Scouts BSA, and warning, we're letting the cat out of the bag here. So we're letting everybody in the nation know about this. So if you are in the Cascade Pacific Council, you're going to want to check out cpcbsa.org/reservations if you're a Scouts BSA unit, and make your reservation as soon as possible so that you get the camp that you want next year. So make sure you check that out. at cpcbsa.org/reservations. Also, Horse Trek, for those of you who didn't know, Horse Trek is now a ranch camp. So we're doing this again this year because remember those wildfires? We talked about campfires. So putting those campfires out. Well, remember the wildfires, of course. Well, because of those wildfires, there's still some areas that are closed where we normally do our horse treks. So we're doing ranch camp, but it is going to be fantastic. It's going to be super awesome here. We're actually going to let Scott DiPaolo tell us all about that here in just a second. But just so you know, you're going to want to register for this as soon as possible because it is filling up, and you get the information at cpcbsa.org/horses. And I'm going to let Scott tell us all about it.
Howdy, folks. Hey, I'm Scott DiPaolo. I'm the head wrangler out here at Butte Creek Scout Ranch. And I'll tell you, the ranch ain't all about riding and roping and doing cowboy stuff. We do some other things out here. Like this summer at ranch camp, we're going to teach you how to fly fish, how to cook over an open fire, and how to find true north by the stars. How to guide yourself when you have no other way to go. And we're hoping that you'll come out and you'll enjoy ranch camp with us. So get on cpcbsa.org, check us out, or just call in to 503-226-3423. You're gonna talk to Deanne. She's gonna point you in the right direction for getting signed up. Can't wait to see you out here this summer. Make it a great day and happy trails.
All right, thanks for that, Scott. Really appreciate it. And so there are two opportunities, June 18th through 25th and August 20th through 28th. You're going to want to get in on that because there is a limited number of saddles, so to speak, available. So you're going to want to check that out. Really, really awesome. A fantastic time. We just heard lots of great rave reviews about it from those who joined us previously. So we're doing it once again. Super, super excited about that. Give me a second here. We'll go to the next slide here. Next up is just some upcoming events. So these are some deadlines and things that we want you to know about here. First of all, Cub Scout Corner. If you are in Cub Scouts, if you're a leader of a den or a pack, you're going to want to jump in here because Deb Hildebrand has created all this amazing program. She started this during COVID and it has been fantastic, and she's continuing on with it. So she has a whole bunch of programs here. They are typically the fourth Thursday of every month at 7 p.m. via Zoom. May 26th is coming up here soon, and she's going to be doing a NOVA program and how to teach that for Cub Scouts. Then she's got a recruiting webinar, and then Cub Scout skits. She's got program planning, how to do all of that, and even Cub Scout crafts. She always has a great time with that. So you're going to want to check that out at cpcbsa.org/calendar, or you can just go to the website. You'll see the events area and just do a search for Cub Scout Corner, and all these dates will pop up and you can register there. Also, multiple opportunities for you Scouts BSA to earn merit badges here with our Meriting with the Experts program. We are doing this with Alaska Airlines and Evergreen Aviation and Space Museum. Just a fantastic opportunity, multiple opportunities for you to earn partial or in most cases, full merit badges, including American labor, engineering, aviation, sustainability. You can do all these and you can see the opportunities at cpcbsa.org/calendar. There's lots of opportunities there. So we just don't mention them here because there's so many all the way through the rest of the year pretty much. So check that out at cpcbsa.org/calendar. Also, here's a fantastic leadership opportunity for you youth. This is a nationally recognized program. That's why it's called National Youth Leadership Training. And there are 3 opportunities here for you to dive in on this. So this is really awesome training for 13-year-olds and up. And it's really about just everything you need to know to lead your scout unit. But boy, this is going to teach you lots of great skills in school and in life. So you're going to want to check that out at cpcbsa.org/NYLT, or talk to anybody in your scout unit who has done this. It is a fantastic program. 3 opportunities in the summertime. So check that out at cpcbsa.org/NYLT. And a leadership opportunity for adults is Wood Badge. This is an opportunity for you to learn some great skills that help, of course, in scouting, but also in career and life too. And you'll build great relationships and have a great time. We've actually done a webinar on this too, so you can see that at cpcbsa.org/woodbadge. This is going to be really great. There are 2 weekends that we're doing this. All the details are at cpcbsa.org/woodbadge. And a couple dates that are further in the future, but lots going on with these right now as we speak, which is National Jamboree and World Jamboree. Meetings are starting up. There's lots of information coming out about these things. So if you want to meet scouts across the nation or across the world, you need to check these out. You can go to cpcbsa.org/jamboree for the National Jambo information. It is fantastic, an incredible time. World Jamboree is at wsj2023.us. We have a whole gaggle of scouts that go to these from here in the Cascade Pacific Council, and you're going to want to join in on that. It is in 2023, but it's all ramping up now. We're talking fundraising and all the fun activities and getting to know your scout unit. Really incredible. So check that out. Scout Shop. There are some deals. Of course, there's always great deals at the Scout Shop, so you want to always be aware of this. You can go to cpcbsa.org/scout shop and find out information, or just pop on by because they're starting up the camp sale, the pre-camp summer camp sale. So this is happening through the 22nd of May, where you can get anywhere 15 to 25% off on a whole variety of things, depending on how much you spend. So 15% off if you spend 125 bucks, 20% off when you spend 150 bucks, 25% off when you spend 175 bucks. So boy, that's really great. And if you didn't know this, the Scout Shop actually has real gear, not just, our uniforms, patches, all that kind of stuff, but they have fantastic gear. I mean, we're talking real deal backpacks and sleeping bags and sleeping pads, all that kind of good stuff that you need is right there at the Scout Shop. A couple quick things on marketing, because, well, that's my job. So I'm going to tell you a few things here. If you go to cpcbsa.org/marketing, there are some new tools. We've got some of these great postcards that you can just fill out. You can just actually print out a label for this. So you can kind of make, 20, 30, 40, 50 of them at a time. Super easy. We've got templates there. These are fun little postcards that there are some for Scouts BSA, older Scout units, and for Cub Scout units as well. And just really easy for the Scouts to hand out, or parents just to hand out to friends. And hey, this is what we're doing this summer and after summer, all that kind of stuff. You can put your calendar there, whatever you like. It's kind of like a little invite card. So use that at cpcbsa.org/marketing. Also, one other plug here for social media stuff is that we've got some great tools. If you've got, really want to encourage everybody to create a public version of your Facebook page for your Scout unit, because it's a great way to just talk about all the activities you're doing. And we actually have some examples of that at cpcbsa.org/marketing of Scout units who are doing great things and also have connected to us, to the CPC, so that we can actually post some of these fun materials, if you just get too busy. Believe me, I know how busy it gets as a Scoutmaster myself. So we are going to help you out by posting to your feed some really great materials. Or if you want to do it yourself, we've actually, on this page, is a download of about 50 different little video clips and graphics and stuff that you can use, and you can queue up yourself. You can use them to post and just share all the great things that you're doing in scouting, what you're doing for summer camp, all that kind of good stuff. You'll see that at cpcbsa.org/marketing. The slide here is showing us, how easy it is to connect, but this information is right there on that page as well. So I won't go into it here on the webinar. Okay. Whew. Boy, there's a lot going on. Isn't it great? I keep saying that, but it's really refreshing. And so joining us today to talk about the actual topic of the day, which is the real reason why you're here, is Powderhorn training. Why do it? Butch is here. And it's funny, he and I realized, he's been doing this like a gazillion years and all this stuff. And I've actually never met him in person. So I'm really hoping that nowadays we'll actually at least get to meet semi face to face. And this is as good as it gets right now. But anyway, so it's nice to see your face there, Butch. I think we've emailed a bunch over the years and the last couple of years, but it's been a crazy couple of years. So
I'm excited to be here. Awesome. So glad to be here.
Well, tell us a little bit about yourself first, like what your background is, and then tell us a little bit about Powderhorn.
Sure. So my background, I actually started scouting in the last Frontier Council in Oklahoma. I was a Eagle Scout as a youth, started as a Cub Scout, went all the way through the program. And coming out here to Oregon for work, I was very fortunate to get involved in scouting pretty close to as soon as we got here, and have been starting with Cub Scouts way back in the day. And currently I'm the chartered org representative for a pair of linked troops for Scouts BSA. And let's see, I've got 3 of my kids that have earned Eagle Scout so far, including one of my daughters. And we've got one left who is still on the trail and working really hard.
That is awesome. Love it. Love hearing that. That's really, really great. Well, thank you for helping, for serving, for just teaching the kids. It's really awesome. And congratulations on your Eagle Scouts too. That's fantastic.
They make me proud.
That's great. Well, tell us now about Powderhorn. I didn't know anything about this until actually, I guess it was a year ago or so when we started talking about it. And so this is really exciting as a scout unit who loves doing stuff in the outdoors and going on high adventure. This is really great, really great. So tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so it has been a little over 10 years since the Cascade Pacific Council has hosted a Powderhorn course. Last year, we were fortunate enough to partner with the Chief Seattle Council to use some of our wonderful properties to have some of the Powderhorn courses that they hosted in our area. This year, it is our turn to be responsible for the program and to get people hands-on excited about high adventure. And so the idea with Powderhorn, if you'll go ahead and go to the next slide there, is it's a resource course designed to introduce high adventure to adults and youth. So we kind of look at it as a high adventure resource training course. It gives you an understanding not only of what you can do, but some tips and tricks on how to actually implement that program within your units. And as it says there, the program is open to youth age 14 years or older, as well as to adults. And I just have to tell a short story. So last year at the Powderhorn course that Chief Seattle Council hosted, I took my son and one other youth from our unit that was the senior patrol leader. And on the way back from Powderhorn, he said, "Oh my gosh, that was amazing. Our troop needs to do way more of this stuff." That's what Powderhorn is. It's a way for the youth and the adults to get that high adventure energy by experiencing it themselves. So the details, I guess, if you'll go on to the next slide there, is we are going to be having a 2-weekend course. It's going to start off in the Chief Seattle Council area at Camp Piggott and Edward. We're going to be starting Friday in the morning. It's going to be all day. It's going to be wonderful and fun, and go through to about midday on the Sunday. And I can't tell you everything we're going to be doing because there's going to be some surprises that will hopefully add to the experience. But we are going to be doing things like high ropes courses, low ropes courses, waterfront. We're going to have some amazing shooting sports opportunities. In fact, the plan that we've got for the shooting sports is going to have a 50 caliber rifle that the youth are going to be able to fire and take home one of the shell casings at the end as a bit of a souvenir. I've got a video of my son shooting that gun, and the smile on his face at the end is the biggest I've ever seen. And then the second weekend is going to be at our own Camp Baldwin. And we're going to be doing some whitewater rafting. We're going to be doing some rock climbing on real rocks. We're planning an outbound activity for one of the nights. It's going to be a lot of fun. And the cost for the course is a steal. I wanted to make sure that we could do everything we can to keep the prices reasonable for folks. And if you take a look at the cost there, that $300 is going to be the best you're going to ever get for the types of hands-on experiences that you'll get from this course.
Nice. It sounds like it. And I'm assuming there's more also training on how to create program too, right?
Right. So generally the pattern is going to be that during the day, we're going to be out doing things. And then when the sun goes down and it may not be as safe to be, up in a high ropes course in the dark, we'll be having actual presenters who will come in to give some material on how to structure a high adventure, what different considerations there are to make it accessible for folks. And so that way you get a bit of doing and a bit of listening.
Nice. And you mentioned accessible. So you were telling me previously a little story. I think that's a great example versus. So tell me again what you mean by accessible.
Absolutely. So if you think about it, there's always going to be a subset of scouts that are what I'm going to call the adrenaline junkies. We all know them. We all are impressed by the adventures that they go on. And those youth and adults are always going to find ways to meet that need. However, there are always going to be other youth who are a little more hesitant or unsure about their skills. And we want to make sure that we give ways of inclusivity for youth and families that fall into that category. So last summer, I took my 2 linked troops with a wonderful trip on the Willamette River. It was 6 days, 67 miles, lots of fun. We had an absolute blast. And one of the evenings, we actually stayed at Champouy State Park and had the rest of the troop join us to be a part of that adventure. And so even if they, like my own youngest son, when we were doing the prep work for getting familiar with canoes and the stamina building, he was like, yeah, I want to go on the high adventure. I want to do the big thing. And after a couple of the prep ones, he said, you know what? I'm not ready yet. And so he wasn't able to go on the full high adventure, but he joined the rest of the troop at Champouy Park to still be a part of that experience, to still hear the stories and see how it was going so that he could still have that connection with the youth.
Gotcha. That's a really, really great example. You tend to forget. For us, we do trainings going into something, but what a great awareness to know. I'm not sure I'm quite ready for that. That's really fantastic. What other kind of, so what examples of different kinds of high adventures do you really cover? Are you focused on backpacking, national high adventure places?
So me personally, I've actually been to Florida Sea Base once. I've done the Willamette River trip. I've done hiking events. My units in the past have gone up to the San Juan Islands and done bicycling on each of the different islands and having a blast there. There are so many things that can be done under the banner of high adventure. And I think the biggest thing is if it's stretching the youth, then it's good. It shouldn't be your standard car camping kind of experience. And it may be as much as a one night hike out and hike back that stretches some of the kids. And so we want to encourage any and all ways of doing that. We'll obviously share some different examples during the course of how other people have done it, but the real goal is to get those creative juices flowing in the minds of each of our participants that help us know how can we bring that fun and adventure to the youth.
That's great. That's great. Because there must be a bit of mind sharing in terms of ideas and because obviously you've done quite a few, but I think that's something that we really need to do a better job of, is sharing some of these ideas. You just mentioned a whole bunch of them, but a lot of times it's I think a little scary for parents or for new parents, or even for new leaders to go, oh my gosh, how do I even start? Where do I start? How do I even plan something like that? And because it could be kind of daunting, and you guys must go through quite a bit of that, I would assume.
Yes, and one of the key presentations that we'll have as part of Powderhorn is high adventure planning. There's a very wonderful gentleman named Carl Cohagen who comes from the Seattle area, who has been leading high adventures for many years. And I'm tempted to say he's got it down to a science. And so he knows how to plan things, and he's going to be sharing some of his best practices as part of the course. But as it says on the screen there, the goal with all of this is just like with scouting. It's fun with a purpose. We want to inspire the youth to drive the program from their side. We want to empower the adults to have the resources to feel comfortable saying yes to the youth that want to do these big things. And the resource sharing is wonderful. I've made connections through Powderhorn and other larger training courses that have enabled me to support the youth and their need. And so everybody can benefit from this experience. Even if they have done it before, this will still give them an opportunity to share what they've done, to kind of add to their own influence by getting other people on board with it. And as it says there, high adventure does teach grit. And you've got the physical side of things, and that is the most common one that people think of when you think of high adventures. You think about the physical side of it, the blisters at the end of a 50-mile hike, or the worn out shoulders and arms from paddling day after day. And that is a normal thing, and everybody needs to be prepared for that aspect. But as it says there, there's a psychological component to all of the different high adventures that we go on. If you think about the concept of summiting a big mountain, you have to get yourself into the right mind space to make that happen. And with the youth that we have currently in the program, they all have unique, diverse needs and strengths that we have to work with. And so I've already had some people that have reached out to me saying, I've got a kid, but they've got anxiety or autism or other challenges. How can we keep them involved and engaged in these kinds of events? And so as it says on the slides previously, high adventure is for everyone. It may not always look the same, but it will fill that same need in the youth. And so part of what we will be doing is I have a wonderful member of my staff, Colleen Louie, who has a great perspective on how we can meet the developmental needs of youth and take into account how each of their unique situations require unique approaches. And so she's going to be presenting some of the material on the course that will help us identify and work through how we meet those needs.
Well, that's great. Colleen and I have chatted. We actually did a webinar about really empathy, communication, all of that. And it was, hey, it's a great reminder, as you know, those of us leaders who are just trying to get it done. And okay, let's figure this out, is to pause, stop for a moment and listen to these scouts, and because they do have great ideas, and they have things they want to do, but also, like you mentioned, they may have some concerns, of course, and walking them through that is super important. Well, that's great.
I mean, I've been to scouting events even recently where the activity that was planned, I went into it and I was nervous. And that is a normal thing. And if you think about it, the likelihood that you will have any number of youth at an activity that you're working on that come in with nervousness or fear even of what they're going to be doing, that is highly likely. And so being able to watch for those youth, being able to help to reassure them and give them the best experience they can, that's what we want to do as scout leaders. We want to make sure that these youth are cared for and given every opportunity that they deserve.
Hear, hear. Well, awesome. Okay, let's see if there are, I don't have any other questions myself. Let me look here and see if anybody in the chat has any questions, or on Facebook. Let's see here. I'm not seeing any rolling in. That's awesome. What are some of the adventures you all have talked about in the past? You mentioned a few that you have done. What are some of the things? Has there been anything that stands out, even to yourself, who was obviously experienced in doing high adventure, that went, whoa, we've got to do that?
Honestly, just doing the whitewater rafting seems to get everybody's attention because they view it as easy. They see it and they think, oh, that'll be easy, but it looks fun. It's not easy. It looks like it, but the first time somebody falls out of the raft and you're trying to struggle to get them back in before the next rapids, it's full body experience. It's getting the adrenaline moving, a lot of fun, but oh my gosh, it's so worth it.
That's awesome. Well, great. Okay, let's do one other thing here. Let's put up your contact info here. And folks, you can go to cpcbsa.org/Powderhorn, and you'll see the information there, how to register and whatnot. Let's go over. Let's see here. We've got your contact information, which is.
And I've even listed my phone number. I know that may be daring in today's day and age, but having been a commissioner for many many moons. I love it when people reach out to me to talk or to text. It's a great way to address any questions or concerns that someone may have, and I am happy to answer those.
Or if it's time for you to save on your car insurance.
Well, we all want to save on car insurance, right?
So we get those calls all the time. It's amazing. That's awesome. Well, thanks Butch for sharing that. That is awesome. So if you have any questions, you can email Butch at powderhorn2022@gmail.com, or his phone number here. And all the information is also on the webpage itself. We'll just go over one more time when this is, because now is it 2 weekends just available, or that's not 2 weekends are required, right?
So it is 2 weekends required.
Oh,
so the entirety of the course is both weekends. So people signing up get the full experience at Piggott and the full experience at Baldwin.
Ooh, excellent. And as you saw, and as you were hearing Butch talk about all of the incredible hands-on activities, which is really awesome for, we just did Super Weekend, for instance, and a bunch of the Scouts had not shot guns and things like that, and or done archery. So it's really a great opportunity to work on climbing. So this is like just what an amazing opportunity to actually get hands-on understanding of how things work, and really help those creative juices start flowing about what are the options here that we could do for high adventure, which is super great. Okay, so we've got 2 weekends in August 19th through 21st, and then the last weekend in August as well. The first one is at Camp Piggott, and the second one is at Camp Baldwin. Camp Piggott is in Chief Seattle Council, and Camp Baldwin, of course, is here in the Cascade Pacific Council, and it's for Scouts 14 and up and adults. What's the sort of ratio you guys kind of get? You get more Scouts, you get more adults?
So generally speaking, if in the past when we've had a week-long course where it's during the week, it was definitely predominantly youth, because adults don't always have the time to take away from work. I am hoping that we get a lot of youth on this course. I very much want to empower the youth to plan their own high adventure activities, and this will give them, a clue on how to structure it and how to approach their leaders and say, we did this, we know it's doable, let's do more of it.
Nice. We have a question on Facebook. Would you arrive Friday morning or Thursday evening?
So the program will start Friday morning, and we are going to have opportunities for folks that are traveling a long distance so that they can stay at the camp the Thursday night, because we do not want to encourage people to drive in the wee hours of the morning because there's no other option. We want to definitely keep things safe and give them a place to stay that Thursday night if they need it.
Awesome. Great. Well, thank you for that. Well, it sounds like an incredible time. Actually, we'll be at High Adventure. Otherwise, we'd be there. But we're going to be in the Wallowas cruising around, backpacking in the last weekend, these weekends, actually. So, but it sounds awesome, and highly encourage. From my own personal experience, so my old Scoutmaster would say, you will never get this time back. And it's so true. And for the kids to experience these epic, I always say epic adventures is really what it's about. And it really can be epic. And what's interesting too, as you were talking about your adventures that you guys have had, the adventures that we've had, as we were talking earlier before this, is that really it is, you can do anything. That's what we recently told our Scouts, was like, we can go anywhere. And after talking to a bunch of other unit leaders and Scouts recently, like, oh, you can go to Alaska, you can go to Hawaii, you can go, all these places. You can go to Camp Piggott, you can go to Camp Baldwin, of course, but there are just all these awesome opportunities, whether it's National BSA having opportunities for high adventure journeys, or visiting a national park. It is just really, really incredible. And of course, my old Scoutmasters say, well, hey, parents, where do you want to go? Just nudge the kids along. Hey, look, a glacier. Have you ever thought about taking the train to Glacier? Ooh, so it's great. But this is great in that you're giving some boundaries, but you're giving an approach and a strategy to really crafting and creating some incredible high adventure opportunities. And as I say, for the parents and for the kids. And I love what you said about there are ways to create a high adventure opportunities that can involve even younger Scouts or adults who are not as experienced in that. So this seems like what a great place to brainstorm and talk about that. So.
Yeah, I'm very excited to have this opportunity. It's made a difference both in my own life, in my kids that have attended, as well as the youth in our units. And I just want to spread that to, give everybody that opportunity, because as it says, high adventure is for everyone.
That it is. And you can't beat it here in the Pacific Northwest, but there's other places too, but it's really pretty darn incredible around where we live. So, well, thank you, everybody. Really appreciate your time, Butch. This has just been fantastic. And thank you for all you do for Scouts, for and for scouting in general. It's just awesome. And just can't thank you enough. And next week, gang, we're going to be talking about fostering pack volunteers. For those of you who are in Cub Scouts and you're a den leader or you're a Cub master, you're going to want to tune into that because we've got some great tips from somebody who's done it. So that's going to be awesome. And then the last Wednesday of the month, we're going to be doing our summer camp updates. So you're going to want to tune in to that as well for those of you going to summer camp. Also, don't forget, from a summer camp perspective, we have these awesome new web portals, which you can see. There's a link to it on the website, on our homepage of the website at cpcbsa.org. All the information there for summer camp. It's kind of constantly being updated with just like menus and all that kind of great stuff. And so you get tons of information there at our new web portals for summer camp. So check that out as well. And of course, registering for Powderhorn is at cpcbsa.org/Powderhorn. And you find all the other activities and events. And oh my gosh, like we said, we're back to real deal scouting, and it feels great. And it's just awesome to see and to have all these scouts doing high adventure and beyond. It's just really, really great. So thanks all for joining us. Really appreciate your time. And we will see you all next week.